plan. What is up, guys? Today we're going to be talking about the Pretty Little Liars season finale that came on tonight. Oh my gosh. So a lot of you guys have been asking for these recaps, and I hadn't been doing them for a while because I wasn't really happy with the direction that the show was going. You know, it was just, I don't know, it was kind of confusing. It was a little bit too much to handle. You know, I'm already stressed trying to graduate from school, so I was just like, this is too much for me. So I had to be making them, but of course I promised you guys that I would make one for, for the finale. And that's what I'm doing today. So let's go ahead and get straight into the recap. So the last episode, Hannah texts the new A or whatever and tells him that she killed Charlotte, and that's when it ended. So this episode starts right when they're in the room and everyone's just sitting around like waiting to see what's gonna happen. So the new A types, if you're lying, I shoot all of you. Which is kind of scary because the other A never dared to shoot anybody, did they? Like, that's a little too much. New A, you pushing the limits here. And then while everyone's like contemplating, like, is this the right thing to do, blah, 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 Hannah's like, I trust Caleb. And then Spencer looks up and she's like, I do too. Like, girl, stop. Spencer. So Hannah texts and she goes, it's the truth, I'll call the cops. And then the new A is like, no police, this is between you and me. And then Hannah goes, I need one more day. And then Aria reads over her shoulder and the new A texts, it'll be your last. So we flash over to Allie and she's sitting on the couch and because, you know, she just fell downstairs randomly, and her little husband is there and they're like cuddling, and they're talking about some money. I kind of zoned out on that part, but they're talking about money and how it's going to a good cause, and like Elliot ends up leaving and going on his little trip wherever he needs to go. So we flash to the next scene, which is Toby and Spencer together. Random. And they're looking at the maps because they're going to go and go into the basement of Bradley Hotel, whatever it is now, and try and find whatever what's her face, the one whose hands got burnt, Sarah. They're trying to find what she's looking for. And then they have this like weird little moment where they're like speaking French together. I'm like, y'all over there speaking the language of love. But then I'm like, wait a minute, Spencer, you being a man thief again. You know he's got a fiance. But it's okay because they have history, so it's okay. I'd rather Spencer be with Toby. But I do like Yvonne. I feel like she's so sweet, but still, Spencer and Toby, Spoby forever. So Emily meets up with Caleb, and Hannah's not there. She's saying like her last goodbye to her mom, quote quote, trying to make it look like she's like really like saying she's about to die. And they're just kind of like talking about the preparations, and everyone, and including Spencer and Toby, they keep saying that it's Sarah. They're like, oh, Sarah doesn't know what's coming for her. Sarah's gonna be shocked, blah blah blah. And I'm thinking like, oh, obviously it's not Sarah because they always do this, and when they think it's somebody, it's not. So now we can take Sarah out the equation. So Aria and Ezra are together, and I'm like, all these couples like being together again, like what's going on here? So they are talking about the book and stuff, and like Ezra's like in this zone, and Aria's like, oh my gosh, what's wrong? And he finally says like, I'm never gonna see her again, talking about his girlfriend that got lost in on a mission trip. And he has a little moment, and you know, he's so sad, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I was sitting there sad for him, and my leg just popped or something, just popped, just now. And then we flash to Allie, and she's having just a horrible time. So she ends up going upstairs because the music box is playing, and when she goes and grabs the music box, she turns to her door, and there is her dead mom looking like she just climbed out of the grave. And Allie freaks out. She drops her little music box, breaks the mirror. I said, girl, you got bad luck for 7 years now if you didn't already have bad luck. And she ends up running downstairs, and then the phone rang, and it was her mom, and her mom was like, did you miss me? So we flash to Emily and Allie together, and they're talking about what happened. And Emily's like, girl, it's just side effects of your medicine. I just saw that commercial, you know, it said may cause your dead mama to come back and haunt you. But of course she was like joking, you know, or whatever. But yeah, so they just think it's the medicine, and she's like, yeah girl, you'll be fine. But then we flash to somebody watching them through the window. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm having so many flashbacks from when A used to watch them from the windows and the crevices and the corners and the tree houses, and it's too much. So we flash to Spencer's house, and or is it her house, wherever they are, and like they're doing campaign stuff for her mom, like doing like the last minute like phone calls and all that kind of stuff. And Mona pops up, and Spencer's like, what are you doing here? And she's like, I just want to help. I'm like, I haven't been the enemy for a long time. And so Spencer ends up letting her help out with the campaign, and so Mona starts calling people on the phone and yada yada yada. And then Toby is at the other thing talking to his girl Yvonne, you know, because she's on the opposite side, and she's mad because, you know, he's gonna go help Spencer, and he can't tell her what he's doing, obviously, because he doesn't want to get her involved and stuff. But, you know, she is mad. She's like, you can't even give me a straightforward answer, and just a month ago we were talking about building our lives together, and you can't even tell me like what you're doing with Spencer. You know, I would be suspicious too, because that's his ex-girlfriend, you know. I'm like, what you doing with your ex? Can she find her new man to help? Where's Caleb? That's what I would have been thinking, because I wouldn't have known Caleb was already involved, you know. Just, yeah. So we flash back to Hannah and Caleb, and they've been spending so much time together since he's like getting all this stuff together for their little plan. And they're building the electric fence and like setting up the cameras and stuff, and they end up coming up with a name for this new A, and they're calling him or her A-moji. I don't know where that came from, but I'll roll with it. So we flash to Allie's house, and Aria and Emily are both there. Oh, my voice cracked. Aria and Emily are both there taking care of her. Not really taking care of her, but, you know, just being there for her. And Allie's like laying in the bed, and then you see like a hand like go over her hand, and it's got a ring on it. Did the hand have a ring on it, or was I looking at Allie's ring? I don't know. But the hand like comes over her, and she's like, oh, Elliot, you're like thinking he's back. She rolls over, y'all. It was Walden in the bed. It was Walden. Dead Walden. And she was like, oh my gosh, I felt him. So she like screams and like goes and like sits in a corner. I'm thinking like, why didn't you run out of the room? Why don't you go sit in a corner in the same room, like back into a corner where he could like just get you? I don't know. But she ends up there, and then so Aria and Emily run upstairs and find her, and they're like, oh my gosh, girl, what happened? She's like, it was Walden. And then Emily's like, girl, you're just having vision. And it's like, it's not, he's not here, it's not real. She's like, it's just too much. So next we flash to a scene of my absolute favorite couple, Spalin. And they're sitting there talking about panties and stuff. I'm like, y'all so nasty. Y'all should make me throw up. I just ate. Like, I had just eaten while I was watching the show, and they were trying to make me throw up my food. Like, And then Spencer's dad, like, knocks on the door or whatever, so Caleb has to leave and run away. And Spencer looks at him. She's like, I love you. And he just looks back like, and he didn't say I love you back. I caught that. But he smiled, but he didn't say I love you too. In the wise words of JoJo, say love. So we flash to Allie, who sees her mom and Walden again, and then she disappears or something. I'm so tired of her. And so yeah, she's scared or whatever. And then we flash to one of the juiciest scenes. It's not the juiciest, but it's one of the juiciest scenes in this episode. So Aria's in what's his face's house, Ezra, and he comes in. He's like, the book got approved. And she's like, oh, everyone's chapter but mine, huh? And she goes this long rant about how was her publisher, her boss or whatever, how she's bad. And then finally she snaps into it. She's like, wait, what? Our book got approved? And they're like, not there, but Ezra's like, yeah, we're gonna go on book tours, we're gonna do a prequel, we're gonna do all this stuff, we're gonna go on talk shows, like everything's all set up, we're moving the date forward. And they were just so happy, and Aria was so happy that she just like ran up to Ezra and just like kissed him on the mouth. And then they like paused, like, oh, what just happened? And then they did it again, and they did it all the way into the bedroom, and then they did other things. I just feel bad for like the new boyfriends and not girlfriends. There's only new boyfriends. I feel bad for the new boyfriends because they just didn't know what they were getting into. Like, y'all just like, sorry. So yeah, Ezra is totally a thing now. Again. You know, that was one thing that I knew should happen, because like they broke the law for each other. Like they went through so much and so much drama, like dating a teacher just to break up with him, and like, you know, didn't he lose his job over that and stuff? Yeah, like they need to stay together because y'all went through way too much. So Caleb and Hannah arrive at their little place, like wherever he was going to be set up, and Hannah has a flashback of like their big argument that caused them to break up, and it was when she was supposed to go to, I think, Tokyo or something, and he was like, no, we're supposed to go to whatever place they're going. Budapest? I don't know. but they're supposed to go to whatever place they were going to. And she was like, no, I can't. And he's like, no, tell your boss like that we have plans. We've been talking about this for months. And she's like, I just can't. And he's like, well, if you go, when you come back, I'm not going to be here. And so she was like, I can't, I'm so sorry. She goes, we'll be okay, and like walked out the door. And yeah, and then she like snaps out of her flashback, and Caleb was like, hey, are you okay? And she's like, yeah, I'm fine. And Caleb's like, you'll be okay, Hannah. So back to Allie's house. Emily can't find her. Yeah, that's it. Oh, and the little husband calls on FaceTime, and she's like, he's like, where's Allie? And she's like, I don't know. So we flash through Spencer. Spencer's at her mom's like little party or whatever, because it's like election day or whenever they figure out who won. And so she's at the little party or whatever, and Emily calls her and it's like, hey, like I still can't find Allie. I need you to help me. I'm like, Emily always wants to be Captain Save a girl. Like, girl, like, she put y'all through so much. Why? I don't get it. I guess because they're like really close friends or whatever, but all of this is because of Allie. Like, I mean, of course, Allie's not the one like texting them. I don't think. I hope not. But, you know, because of Allie, Cece came after the girls, for all those years. And now because of Allie, Charlotte was in their lives, and Charlotte died, and now somebody's after them because Charlotte died. Like, I'll be like, girl, listen, we had some good times. Even with back in the day when you were mean, you used to go off on everyone and call people fat and call people losers and stuff. I didn't forget that. But listen, you're making my life miserable, so I think it's best that we just keep our distance. That would be me. I would rather be a loner than be friends with Allie, going through all that mess. That's too much. But anyway, Spencer tells her she can't leave because, you know, they've already got this plan in motion. Like, this plan is in action, and if she leaves, it just ruins everything. So she tells her if she thinks she's seeing dead people, like, she's gonna go to a place where she feels safe. So where does she feel safe? And so we see Allie walking into the church. I'm like, please don't let her kill herself, like, because Charlotte's dead. Like, please don't, Allie. Like, I know I said I wouldn't be your friend, but I don't want you to die. I would just distance myself from you and your crazy family. So we flash back to the little place that Hannah's gonna stay, and Aria and Ezra are there, but they say they're gonna go test out the little lights or whatever. So they leave the room, and it's Hannah and Caleb by themselves. So Caleb said something about, I've never let you down, have I? And then Hannah's like, but I let you down. And so we flash back to like the scene at night with them when they had that argument. And she's in her little taxi cab, and it's pouring rain. There's a ton of traffic. She's like, I can't do this. So she gets out of the taxi, runs in the pouring rain, makeup dripping down her face, back to the apartment. She goes inside of the apartment, y'all. It was like a movie. She goes inside, and Caleb is gone, and she had tried calling him, and she tried calling him when she was in the cabin. He didn't answer, and then when she got back, she tried calling him because she saw all of his stuff was gone. His clothes were cleaned out the closet, and he left his phone there, like left it there, so she couldn't call him. And that, I guess that was like the last time that they spoke after that. Like, oh, it was so sad. And so she told him that story, and he's like, wow, like thinking, like, his facial expressions, whoa. And she's like, if only I had come back like a little bit earlier, or if I hadn't even left, she's like, like things would be so different now. And then she looked at him, she told him, I never stopped loving you. I said, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And for all of y'all in my last video that told me that I was wrong for saying that Spayla was wrong, I am so proud to say I told you so. I told y'all Hannah didn't think it was okay. I guess because a lot of y'all are younger, y'all don't understand, but when y'all get about my age, or even when y'all get into high school, y'all will understand that you do not date your best friend's ex. Now, I'm not mad that, I know everybody moved on. Like, a lot of y'all were like, you need to get realistic. I mean, first of all, this is a show, it's not real, so I can't get realistic. And then, but secondly, yeah, of course, relationships grow. Like, I'm not with the person I was with in high school. Like, a lot of people aren't. But you don't date your friend's ex. That's just it, point blank, period. And y'all were like, well, Hannah said it was okay. But y'all didn't see the look on her face. It's never okay. You're always gonna say, oh, it's okay. Like, you know, you're not gonna be like, nah, girl. Well, some people would. But you'll be like, oh, Like, I guess, yeah. But it's just like girl code. Like, that's girl code. Girl code. So now, y'all see it. Y'all see it with y'all's own eyes. Hannah does care. She's still in love with Caleb. And Spencer was so wrong to go for Caleb. And Caleb was so wrong to go for Spencer. They should not have even intertwined like that. That's not what a good friend does. And Caleb's just being a little bit of a dog. So, yeah. But yeah. I just want to say, I told y'all so. So y'all can stop leaving comments talking about Spencer's not a man thing. Hannah said it was okay. Hannah lied, y'all. Hannah lied. Y'all saw on her face. Well, y'all obviously didn't see it on her face, but I saw on her face. She still loves him. Like, and now she finally said it. So, anyway. But anyway, so she told him, I never stopped loving you. And then they start inching closer and closer and closer and closer. And then they kissed and it was magical. But at the same time, I was like, things just got so much more complicated. Oh, if Spencer had never tried to get with him, it wouldn't have been complicated. They could have just been together. Well, no, they couldn't because she's engaged. Where is Jordan? Where's he been? I don't know. But anyway, so now things are really complicated because they're Hannah and Caleb are both in relationships. And yeah. Love Triangle Season 7, here we come. So they stopped kissing because Ezra and Arya walked back in and like they didn't notice. So they just like stopped kissing and then went about their business. So Spencer and Toby are they end up meeting up underneath Hotel Radley. I think that's where Spencer's mom's party is, and so Hannah goes, not Hannah, why do I keep saying Hannah? Spencer goes up and changes her clothes and then comes down and meets up with Toby, and they go walking down in the basement looking for this like little secret room or whatever. So they find a little secret door and they begin working on it. Meanwhile, Hannah texts a emoji and tells her location. So Ezra, Caleb, and Arya leave and go on lookout. So then we go to Allie, who's sitting in the church. She's just looking crazy. Emily finds her, and Allie needs help, so they decide to take her to the psychiatric hospital that Charlotte was in. And then back at Bradley Hotel, somebody's like starts walking towards them, and they're like, "What's going on?" So Toby pulls out his gun, and he's like, "Who is it? I'm a cop." And then it turns out to be Mona. And they're like, "Mona, what are you doing here?" She's like, "I'm following you." So Mona ends up going into the room with them, and then they find this document. It's like the only thing in there, and it was kind of like somebody wanted them to find that. Like that was the only thing in there. Like, yeah, like that was planted for them. So on it says Mary Drake, and it says that she was a patient at Bradley 25 years ago, and that she had a baby while she was in there, and the baby's name was Charles, and Charles was adopted by the De Laurentises, which is Charlotte. And then they also say that Charlotte and Charles, I mean, not the same person. This is too much. It's too many people. Jason and Charlotte are pretty much the exact same age. They're not, she's not older. And they pretended that Charles was older because they didn't want people to know that Charles was adopted. Then we flash back to where Hannah is, and somebody's been watching them the whole time. Somebody looks at Arya, Ezra, and Caleb, and then they look at Hannah like through the trees or whatever, and then Ezra, Caleb, and Arya see that somebody's like coming like on their like radar or whatever, and so they don't see anyone, so they run to Hannah's room because they locked up like all the doors in the room and the windows so nobody could get in. But when they go in there, Hannah is gone. There's nothing that's been tampered with. The windows are still intact. The door was still bolted closed. Like, she is just gone. So then we flash to Allie again, checking in the psychiatric ward. She's tying some papers, and the nurse looked funny, like she's in on something. Of course, with Allie, it's always so complicated, like ugh. And then we flash back to the campaign party, and Veronica wins. I think I should need to shave my arm and put that down. Veronica wins. Yes, girl. So while they're all celebrating, Spencer gets a call that Hannah is gone. So her and Spencer hurry up and go to the little cabin place, and then Mona ends up following them. And then when they get there, Caleb runs. Of course, he gives Spencer the biggest hug. I'm like, you a little dog. You little dog. give her a big hug, and then he looks at Mona, and then he was like, what is she doing here? Like, he got so angry that Mona was there. I'm like, oh my gosh, what do y'all know? Mona, are you in on this? Because I swore I even tweeted it. I said, y'all, I think Mona is a good person this time. I think she's really trying to help. But after Caleb, like, freaked out, what's going on? Unless Caleb's a bad guy, he better not be. Y'all better not freak my heart like this, pretty little Lars. Oh, but I don't know what's going on, and I don't know what he knows about Mona that got him so angry, unless I missed something. Did something happen in the last episode besides Mona saying that he kissed her or something? What's going on? So everyone's in the room all like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And then we flash to Walden, and we're like, oh my gosh, I thought you were just a vision, like Allie's vision. But it's not, he's a real person. And then he like takes off his neck. He like takes off his skin. And then all of a sudden, when his skin is off, it's Elliot. And then he talks. He's British. Who is this man? Who is this man? I knew he was a bad man. I had a feeling. I got a feeling. Ooh. But anyway, so he's sitting there, and then Miss De Laurentiis comes over his shoulder, and then he calls her Mary. I'm like, so you're Mary Drake? So the twin that we've been contemplating and talking over for the last few weeks isn't even a twin of one of the liars. It's a Miss De Laurentiis, somebody we don't care about. I don't care about Mrs. D. She's dead. She's gone. She got buried in the yard. Like, she is gone. So why is she the one with a twin sister? Out of all the people, it's Mrs. D. So anyway, they're talking, Mrs. D and British Elliot, they're talking, and she says that Charlotte was in love with Elliot, and he was like, I'll do anything for her. Wait, that's not British. I'd do anything for her. That's not British either. I don't know, I give up. But he says he'd do anything for her, and that's not Mrs. D, what's her name, Mary, was like, yeah, you would, because you married her cousin. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is going on? And then they started talking about the money, like the money that they had been talking about before, Elliot, American Elliot, and Allie. And Elliot was just saying how, like, he owns 50% now. He's like, yeah, she signed the papers. So I'm guessing when she signed into the psych ward or wherever she was, that she actually signed papers giving him the rights to the entire share of the Kerosene group that they own. So he owns 50% of that. So I don't know what they're gonna do with that. I don't know. But Mary Drake was like, yes, we're gonna finally get back what's ours. So this is about to be so interesting. Season 7. It's the final season, I think. I kind of hope it is. Like, I love this show, but I kind of hope it's the final season because I can't take this for another 5 years. Like, I'm gonna be so old and so confused. Like, I'm gonna have children by that time. Maybe. Maybe not. So anyway, we flash back to the liars and their boyfriends, and they are all like, or they're all just kind of like, what's going on? Oh my gosh. They see the video of what's her face, Mrs. D, what they think is Mrs. D, but it's really Mary Drake. And they see her, and then they get a text, and the text is from somebody named A.D. So it's not A, it's A.D. And A.D. says, thanks for giving me Hannah, you're free to go. And then we flash to the church, and Hannah is like unconscious, and she has like blood on her. I don't know, is it blood or lipstick? I hope it's lipstick and not blood. So she's holding flowers like this, and she's like getting dragged. It looks like she's like, you know, if you hold flowers like at your funeral, that was kind of scary. But I know for sure, like, Hannah can't be dead, because that whole like flash forward, like at the beginning of the season when they run into the classroom and Allie's writing Miss Rollins on the board, and they're like, Allie, you started this. Hannah was with them. So Hannah's not dead, but some juice is about to go down. This next season is about to be so juicy, with love triangles between the liars and engagements being called off and people dragging people and British people pretending to be American and just so much. And I don't even know if I can handle this. When is the season coming out? How long do I have to wait this time? So that is it. If you guys like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Also, leave your predictions down below, what you think is gonna happen, what you liked about this episode, what you didn't like. Let's just chit chat, talk. Yeah, and all you Spaleb shippers, don't be coming at me this time. Y'all were really out for my throat last time. I was like, can y'all chill? Ciao. So yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos. I really want to start doing more entertainment stuff on this channel so we can talk like this, and we can talk about celebrities, and we can talk about gossip, and we can talk about fashion, and we just go do so much. It's gonna be so much fun. So I'm in the process of getting, I can't even talk, I'm talking so fast. Woo! But I'm in the process of getting that all together. So yeah, make sure you subscribe so you can see the next videos that are gonna be coming out. And yeah, oh, by the way, if you're going to BeautyCon Dallas, let me know because I'm gonna be there and I hope to see you. So yeah, love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.